of all, thank you for joining us.
Thank
Both
you for
for
giving me this
on
opportunity. It's really amazing.
As I've told you, all of you before, that this session we are going to talk a lot about inner child issues. We are going to, and please, you can correct me wherever if you feel I'm missing something. We're going to talk a lot about emotional baggage that you tend to carry and then get into a self-sabotaging pattern,
Yeah.
which actually doesn't serve you any purpose,
Yeah.
and it de-aligns you from your actual path that you're supposed to be on. First of all, once again, thank you for coming. I'm going to let you kind of just give a brief little intro of what are the various things that you are doing as a channel and a person that is working with light and energy.
So basically, I'm what is called, Kajal, as an energy intuit. An
Right.
energy intuit is someone who has not done or received any formal training in kind of energy work, but it comes, as the name suggests, intuitively. Even when I was teaching in school, um, this was a part of who I am. This is a
Fine.
part of who I have been always, but it's a part of, for maybe 25, 30 odd years of my life, I resisted that part of me. And then, of course, it all opened up, and, it has just been such a vital part of me. I can't think of myself as anything except this, along with everything else that I am. So, in the realm of energy intuit, I am a health facilitator, and I learned Bach flower therapy under Ashok Hingorani, amazing Bach flower teacher. So I am a Bach flower therapist, and with Jogita Jagwani, I conduct a lot of Bach flower therapy workshops, both short workshops as well as full length detailed workshops. I do a lot of personal sessions that are spiritual mentoring, relationship counseling, anger management, pain management, and a lot of inner child healing and resolution. So I also do esoteric astrology, which is soul based astrology. I have no awareness and no knowledge at all of traditional astrology. My astrology is entirely based on the journey of your soul, where it's come from and where it's going to, and why this current phase of the journey is important.
So just
So,
to
in a
interrupt,
nutshell, that's it.
okay. So just to you use channeled cards, right? When
I have
somebody
my
comes.
own channeled cards, so I'm not like you as a tarot card reader. So
Yeah.
again, this is an aspect which I have not learned. These were
Okay.
cards that were channeled by me, and so I do my readings with my own channeled cards. Yeah.
Okay. You actually made them,
Yes.
like the images on the card.
So the images are not my images, but
Yeah.
it happened
Okay.
one day when I was just sitting and literally flipping through my computer. In those days, we had no laptops, we had those big boxes. And suddenly, out of nowhere, I was not looking for them. These pictures started coming onto my laptop, onto the computer, and I was wondering what the hell is going on. And I haven't clicked anything. What are these pictures? And then when I had kind of calmed down enough, then each picture would give me things, and I just started typing. I didn't know what I was writing and why. But I think I must have sat for well over 6 to 8 hours. But at the end of it, I had what was told to me, these are the cards you will use. And so I asked my little stationer outside my house to make this, because I didn't even know how to do and what to do, and started using them. And it has had such spectacular results that now people have been saying, we want to use your channeled cards, but I have to wait till there's a friend of mine who has promised to paint every picture for me.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's in the midst
And
of
the first
painting.
one to take that deck, you know that.
So she's already finished about 75% of it. So 25% is left, and hopefully in a year, maybe, let's see.
Okay. So let's start. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm just going to repeat. Elena is. I want to first ask you a question. What would you define inner child as?
Basically, one has to understand that all of us have grown up in a certain environment which our soul has chosen for us. So we grow up with a set of parents and grandparents and siblings and school and teachers and all of it. As the child, from the very moment of inception, which means in the womb itself, till the child is about 7 to 8 years old, the child is only absorbing, Kajal, not doing anything about it, is only absorbing all the stimuli from the external world. Some of the stimuli are very, very pleasant and they are happy. These are our happy memories, our happy go-to places when we think nostalgically. And some of these memories and some of these stimuli are painful. So if a child, let us say, has grown up in a dysfunctional family, then there would be very painful memories. There might be domestic violence, there might be abandonment issues, there might be the child feeling rejected. Very, very often what happens is there is a child and then there is another child that's born. And if that second child has a problem, right, physically or mentally, and the mother and father are so involved naturally in the other child's problems, the first child begins to feel, I'm not really important. Now understand, this is what I'm saying, the child is only absorbing. The parents are not saying that at all to the child. That child is as important to the parent. But the child is absorbing the fact that all attention is to the second child. So feelings of being abandoned, feelings of not belonging, feelings of rejection begin to grow. Okay. This becomes part of the psyche of this person. And this psyche is what we call the inner child. So most people think that the inner child is always a place of stress and pain. And it's not true. There are parts of the inner child that are very joyous, that are very delighted. But there are those parts that are in so much pain and in so much darkness that naturally we call those parts as the inner child.
So tell me, so when we kind of grow up with this psyche, as we grow up and then we absorb more and more of things that are happening, does that also affect the inner child? Like, for example,
absolutely.
Let's say I have grown up in an environment which was dysfunctional. Okay, so I have grown up with an thought. That thought could, in my later years, could say, you know what, I never want to get married. I've seen my parents go through. There are a lot of people who come to us saying that, right? So, so does this psyche continue till you don't take steps to correct that?
This is an interesting question, because you and most people think that it's the external stimuli later that kind of then affects the inner child. And it is true very partially. What is actually true is that this inner child that is formed by the age that you are 7 or 8 years old now starts becoming almost like a different being inside of you, right? Just as you emit energy, that inner child begins to emit its energy. So if the inner child is emitting the energy that marriage is stressful or marriage is a challenge and I shouldn't have it, then subconsciously and without your awareness, you will face situations where you block marriage. So the inner child affects your life. It's not your life affecting the inner child. So in the first example, if that child felt rejected, then in all relationships, because the inner child is emitting the energy of rejection, that person constantly feels that I am being rejected in all relationships, when in actuality it may not be true. But the perception of the person gets colored by the inner child energy.
Okay. So when we say that one way of dealing with this, okay, like for example, if somebody came to you saying, having rejection issues or having trust issues, it's of course an inner child problem, something that they have probably taken on and then it's just grown from there on. Or I would assume that your first thing would be to see where the correction needs to happen.
Absolutely.
Right? Which you would probably do with a healing and then couple it with other modalities in like switch words or everything that goes along with it. So how do you, so when you say we need to heal the inner child, typically I hear that a lot when I'm
Yes.
talking to people or I'm
Yes.
reading, that you need to heal the inner child. So does everybody that need healing, is everybody generally self-sabotaging themselves? Like unconsciously. There is a
Very
conscious.
interesting question, Kajal. Very interesting question. And one has to understand that um, we create our realities
Absolutely.
and we create our destinies, right? What I am today is going to create my reality for tomorrow,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
Now, this is a fact none of us can escape from, although it becomes sometimes a very bitter admission that is my life a shambles because I have created it, right?
Right.
And the answer sadly is yes.
Yes.
And the answer is yes. Why? Because your inner child is releasing and emitting, not releasing, it's emitting all these negative energies. Now, you will say, but then why the hell am I screwing up my own life? There is a reason. There is a reason. You are doing that to yourself in order to draw awareness to your inner pain.
Okay.
If your life went damn smoothly, then what needs resolution inside of you, the negative thoughts, the negative beliefs, the negative emotions that need healing, would not be focused upon.
Right.
It is the dark sky that makes us see the stars that shine.
Absolutely.
We don't see the stars in the daytime.
Right.
So the inner darkness expresses itself as unpleasant situations in our lives, which we often call self-sabotage, in order to draw our attention, not in order to make our lives more difficult and challenging, but in order to say, hey, pay attention to me. Heal me, look at me, acknowledge me, recognize me, and let me go.
Okay. So we also sometimes connect our inner child issues. Most of the time they're connected with the past, because you have carried something and it's just coming on again and again. And as we say in all energy work, till you do not rectify it, it will keep coming back to remind you.
Yes,
You need
absolutely.
to pay attention to it.
Not only will it keep coming back, it will keep coming back in a form that's stronger.
Absolutely. So till you do not nip it in the bud, as we say, it will keep coming back. You need to kind of corrective measure. Of course, you cannot undo again what has happened in the past, but you can definitely correct yourself moving forward. When you say that we need to heal your inner child, you definitely suggest meditation modalities.
You know, the first thing I suggest, Kajal, is none of these.
Okay.
The first thing that I talk to with the person who's come for help is to help the person who is now, let us say, 45, go back and understand the situation.
Okay.
Remember, the 6-year-old was absorbing the situation. There was no understanding of the situation. The 45-year-old understands that, oh my God, of course, with my brother who was in this way, my mother couldn't give me that attention that I needed. And therefore sent me away, let us say, to my grandmother's place.
Right.
So she grows up feeling, I was sent away by my mother, but she didn't want me.
Right.
Now she sees that that is not true. That is your first point of healing. Recognizing the truth. And understanding that the inner child had perceived it from a completely different space because the child doesn't have that understanding.
Okay. You feel that without a person of expertise, a regular human being still has the capacity to recognize their inner child issue?
Of course. My gosh, of course. Understand, Kajal, that not everyone goes to a healer. And not everyone takes the help of a tarot reader. There are, and my hats off to them, and I respect those. For example, let me give you an example. I have had the most in-depth, insightful conversations with taxi drivers.
Wow.
I cannot tell you, there are so many hours behind that wheel, but life is teaching them the lessons that you and I may go to someone else and learn from them.
Right.
And they have learned these lessons on their own. And sometimes I just sit at the back with my mouth agape to say, oh my God, this is what I am teaching my clients. And here is a taxi driver who's giving me this truth.
Yeah, sometimes you never know who are the
so
people that
you don't need a healer or a facilitator. Not everyone chooses that path. There are those who choose the path of self-awareness on their own.
So it's not necessary that you have to be in tune all the time. I think you just need to...
First of all, I don't think there is a single person who is in tune all the time, except maybe some Mahayogi on the Himalayas. Self-awareness, Kajal, is to recognize as quickly as possible that I am not in tune just now.
Absolutely.
And once I recognize that, I don't blame myself for it. There is no self-chastisement. There is no shame about it. That, oh my God, here I am L and how am I not in tune? I am not in tune. I am angry, right? And that's exactly what my Zoom session was earlier, self-healing. So what do I do with it? If I now know that I am in a state of anger, and I also know with my awareness that if I don't do anything about it, tomorrow I will have a headache or something which will show that my anger is coming out on a physical level. I would like to heal that anger right now and get back into alignment.
Okay. A person who's facing, just having issues in life, whatever reason, relationship, work, personal, finance, whatever. How much percentage, roughly, or how much contribution is the inner child to having that issue in your present?
100%.
Okay. 100%. Okay.
Because ask yourself this question, Kajal. We are born not to be sad.
Absolutely.
Our bodies have not been created to be sick.
Okay.
Do you know that? Our bodies have not been created to be sick. Our bodies have been created to be in perfect health.
Absolutely.
Knowing this spiritual truth, why is it then that I am sick sometimes? Why is it then that my relationships fail sometimes? Why is it then that I don't have money at other times? Why is it that my career goes downward at some times? These things happen, Kajal, in order to draw our awareness. It's a tap on the shoulder to say, please pay attention to the inner darkness. Please heal it. Okay. If that were not the case, why is it that someone comes with a career problem or an abundance issue? I would say not an abundance issue, a lack issue.
Right.
But with the right advice and the right guidance, maybe switch words, maybe crystals, maybe whatever, the person then moves into a state of abundance.
Yeah.
Because the healing of that area is complete.
Okay.
So your answer is 100%.
100%. They are related to issues that have been, that you have absorbed.
And just now, with all of us being in quarantine, we are thrown into situations where our busy lives would have otherwise distracted us.
Absolutely.
So now we have to come face to face with an irritation, with an annoyance, with a resentment, with a fear, with an insecurity, with a loneliness. I have to come face to face with it. That is why when people tell me, Elle, your take on the virus is so different, I say, yes, I am grateful to this, not to the virus, not to the disease. I am grateful to the opportunity we have received in order to do this for ourselves.
Exactly. I feel, and this is what we discussed in the last session also with Ritu, where we actually said that, this is like the universe is resetting.
Yeah, Absolutely.
And what better time than this to actually recognize yourself, to spend time with yourself, to spend time with things that you like to do, which generally there is time for it. But we say that we don't have the time. How can
And appreciate the people.
Absolutely.
Appreciate the people. We tend to take people for granted. Now there is so much appreciation, and suddenly the husband is aware of what the wife stays at home the whole day and does. Because very often the wives tell me, my husband asks me, what do you stay home and do the whole day? Well, now, buddy, you know what I do the whole day.
Exactly.
So there is a beautiful give and take of energy. And also because our inner child has not been addressed enough as a human collective. Of course, there are so many of us who have addressed this. But as a human collective, it's not been addressed enough. We have, as a human collective, we have diverted all our attention to money.
Right.
To power struggles. We have diverted our attentions by blaming, by judging, by putting people down, by saying this community is good and this community is not good. Now suddenly, the wars we have fought about our churches and our temples and our mosques, isn't it ironic? Now their doors are locked to us.
Yes, very.
Now the divine is saying there is no God.
Yeah.
Now the only God you can see is the one inside of you and the one who is staying with you.
Yes, absolutely.
And the one who is helping you. So our inner child was distracted by money, distracted by career, distracted by power struggles. Now there's no distraction.
How would you, when people come to, when an inner child issue happens, of course we know it's an emotional past that they're carrying, and that's where the issue has started. They've recognized that issue and they are now ready to receive the healing that they're going to get. What would, according to you, be the easiest way to cut cords?
If I have a problem, let us say with mother or father or brother or sister or husband, right? And then there is a cord cutting. The cord cutting involves setting that person free from my state of blame. You do not understand, and many people think that cord cutting means setting yourself free. You're not setting yourself free. You are taking responsible for that relationship going sour. You're taking responsible and saying, you know, somewhere within me, my inner child has created this situation. And as it happens, all souls will always have soul contracts with each other to help souls. So I always tell people, your greatest soulmate is the one who brings you the deepest amount of pain. A soulmate is not your chocolate box hero with flowers in his hand. I wish it were. Life would be so simple. Your greatest soulmate is the one who causes you the greatest pain. So the first thing in cord cutting that I make the person do is, for 7 days before the cord cutting can start, every morning before you wake, as soon as you wake up, you visualize this soulmate of yours, and mentally you bend down and touch the feet of that person and say, thank you for giving me this soul opportunity to reform, to transform, to grow, to evolve. When you've done this for 7 days, then you are ready to let that person go, set the person free of blame, and then begin your own process of healing.
Okay. So you feel that cord cutting or cutting cords becomes like a very basic requirement before you start healing your inner
before
child.
You can start healing anything.
Very important to have that cord cutting.
Yes.
So how I practice cord cutting is something that I was talking to Anu about this morning, is I actually visualize a person in front of me, whoever that person I need to forgive or be grateful to, whoever. And I visualize, and I actually visualize that I am standing, the person is standing opposite me, and our hearts are connected with a cord. And all I do is I take my action and I just snap it off and just say thank you. And I do a Ho'oponopo very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And then that's how I do it. But now this I think would be this is a brilliant idea, because we anyways get up in the morning and the first thing we always do is we are saying thank you to God. So I think it will probably be a good start to the day if you can actually wake up with this.
I don't even believe in forgiveness, Kajal.
Okay.
The reason is, I'll tell you why. People have always asked me, El, what does that mean? You don't believe in forgiveness.
Yeah.
The moment I say, I forgive you, Kajal, I am holding you in blame. Otherwise, why would I forgive you? For what? When I don't hold you in blame, do I say I forgive you?
No, not at all. Exactly.
So the only forgiveness I believe in are the words, I am sorry.
Exactly. So
I am taking responsibility for my reaction to you.
Exactly. So in the Ho'oponopo that you've taught me many years ago, which I practice occasionally now, the 4 main lines are,
yes.
I am sorry.
Yes.
Please forgive me.
Yes.
Right? You're asking for your own forgiveness. You're asking for putting yourself through all of this sabotaging patterns.
And you are saying that, you are implying, you're saying that I created this situation. I brought you into my life to learn some very valuable soul lessons.
Right.
But where I erred was that I blamed you in the bargain.
Okay.
And I am sorry for blaming you. I did not see the light in you.
So effectively, what we are trying to say is that, as you said in the beginning, that you create your own reality and you write your own destiny.
Yeah.
So today, whatever situation that has happened to you because of your reality that you have created for yourself.
Yeah.
So if a relationship has gone sour, or if you have lost money, or if you have lost client, or if you've lost work, that's because that is been created by you. So we can in between ask questions. So is attracting, Anu's asking, is attracting the people who don't have the best intentions for you an inner child issue? Absolutely, Anu, 100%. Anything that you attract is a reason of an inner child issue, as Elena just said. That it has to be something to do with some psyche, some energy that you have observed, and that is what has brought you to this situation.
Anu, also let's look at it in this way, darling. There is nothing on the outside that is not a reflection of the inside. I'm repeating that again. Many people resist this statement. There is nothing on the outside that is not already present on the inside. So, Anu, if someone is in your reality who is mean and nasty and, whatever to you, Anu, only focus upon that person for the purpose of self-awareness, not for the purpose of focusing on what that person is doing or not doing. Recognize what that person is doing, recognize the negative that you are picking up, and then, Anu, say thank you to the person and let that person go mentally, energetically, and then turn inwards and look where within you lies that energy. The day that energy is totally absent within you, Anu, that kind of energy will not come outside of you.
Also, one more question. Many times, we tend to attach ourselves to the outcome of a situation. Like, for example, I have said thank you to you. Okay?
Yeah.
It's a very human tendency that you will want the other person to give you that gratification or whatever that we call it, right? We attach ourselves to when will he say.
Yeah.
You think that also stems from an inner child?
Completely. That, Kajal, is called self needing validation from another. Constantly. Whether it is through appreciation, whether it is through thank you, whether it is through wa, whatever. There is a human need for validation. But haven't you noticed even in yourself, as you've grown and you've come more into your own, you know who you are, you love who you are, you know your flaws, you know your faults, but in spite of that, you're proud of who you are, you're proud of your achievements. You need less and less validation from others.
Absolutely.
So when there is an empty space within, which I can't fill myself, I need you to fill it for me. And that need for validation from others is one of the main causes of relationship problems.
Okay, got it. Okay, so now let's just move a little ahead. I wanted to I just wanted to understand, because you are a Bach flower practitioner,
Yes.
and you recommend Bach flower to a whole load of us.
Yeah.
I also do a lot of Bach flower under your guidance. Rescue Remedy is my favorite. Always, do that. How does number one, what is Bach flower? A simple definition if you can give.
Yeah.
And how does Bach flower actually help us to heal the inner child, or whatever way we require healing? So is Bach flower used primarily for healing, or is it used for balancing your inner a little bit with the outer in that way, or is it purely use a modality that you recommend for healing yourself?
So Dr. Bach was of the firm opinion, Kajal, that the physical body will be diseased when the emotional body is in imbalance. And the emotional body can be in imbalance when there are these so-called negative emotions. Dr. Bach identified quite amazingly 38 different human emotions.
Wow.
38. And it's amazing how Dr. Bach identified and differentiated between one fear and another fear. Like a known fear has a different Bach, and an unknown fear has a different Bach. He's gone down to that nitty-gritty. He understood that this emotional mental imbalance comes from the inner child space. In order to bring ourselves back into a positive energy space, which automatically then balances us, he experimented for a number of years with flowers. And he experimented on himself. Please remember that Dr. Bach was given a few months to live. And he lived on for years, right? By healing himself.
Okay.
So he understood that my physical body is sick because I am sick inside. So forget the physical body. Physical body, as soon as my emotional starts healing, the physical will naturally heal. So by experimenting on himself, he came up with 38 different remedies. By understanding your patient, by understanding your client, by understanding what they are feeling in that moment, you prescribe the Bach flower remedies. Now, very, very rarely are Bach flower remedies very long term. You see, I might give you a Mimulus for a known fear right now, because you might be going in for an exam. Once that exam is over, you come back with self-confidence. I don't need to give you that healing anymore.
That's allowed in Bach. There is no fixed duration of taking the...
Not at all. It depends on how deep the issue is.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Right? So, what we do with Bach flower is to recommend a certain program as in how the client begins to evolve and change. And the joy of Bach flower is not only does it heal you, but it brings you self-awareness. So if I give you a Bach for anger, not only will it soothe the anger, but it will automatically take you to a place of, why am I angry?
Okay, so it will recognize the root of the problem.
That's
as well.
it. That's
so
it.
Then, Isha has asked you a question, which is the best Bach flower to let go of old emotional hurts. Anything you want to tell?
So who was this? Who asked? Isha. Okay. Yeah, Isha Parekh. Hi, sweetheart. So I wish there was one Bach flower I could give you for this. Because the reason why I can't answer that question is I don't know the kind of emotional hurt. For example, if the emotional hurt and pain is of an old wound or a trauma, then I would recommend Star of Bethlehem. right? If it happens that you were in a domestic violence situation and you're really angry with father, let us say, then I would recommend Holi for forgiveness, to let go of that situation. So you see, moment to moment, it's about what is the emotion that you're holding on to, what is the wound that you're holding on to, and then addressing that wound.
Okay. So, moving on. Okay, Manju Jain.
Yeah.
Manju Jain is asking you for childhood rejection. What is it that you would recommend? And then there is somebody, she herself has asked us earlier about hurt and anger and childhood rejection.
So you see, again, Manju, these questions cannot be answered. I wish it was that easy that in a second I can give you an answer. Your inner child is a very deep collection of old memories and old insults that you felt and old humiliations and old wounds. We have to look at each of these and we have to understand what needs the most healing immediately, and only then move into. So you see, Bach flower, Kajal, is not a one-time process. Absolutely. Like I take Bach flower on a regular basis. So if on a certain day I wake up feeling really low and dejected and my energies are just so off and I'm feeling like sad and I don't know what the hell I'm feeling sad, I'll take 2 doses of mustard.
And you just feel okay.
And I feel okay. That gloom has lifted. So you see, it's an ongoing process. And even with our clients, not only do we recommend the Bach, but we urge them to learn about Bach. And I am very, very particular about that, Kajal, because I believe in empowering people. I don't want them to keep coming back to me again. And that's why I keep saying no to you. Because I believe that everyone is a God. If we don't honor that divine being by becoming dependent on someone else, by using others as a crutch, then when am I ever going to touch my own divinity? So I always tell my clients, when they come the first time, I tell them that my mission is not to heal you. In any case, I can't heal you. Only you can heal yourself. I can only facilitate it. My mission is to ensure that you stop coming to me. That I make you so strong that the next time in the future you message Elle to say, hi Elle, getting in touch to say, I'm good, I'm well, I'm happy, I'm whole. That's the time you can. Thank you.
I will send you that message very soon. Actually, I'm going to take this question. I'm going to say, Malaika is asked a question to us. A lot of times I give up on a lot of projects because in my eyes, it's not up to the standards which lead me to giving up that opportunity completely. How can I work on that? So just let me tell you, Malaika is Neha's daughter. I'm sure
yes, I know. Hi, Malaika. And Malaika, very common issue. This is the whole perfectionist issue where people want to be perfect in anything and imperfection is not accepted. I'll give you a small clue, darling. Instead of ever using the word impossible and imperfect, please mispronounce it. Someone will tell you, Malaika, you don't know English, and you say, yes, I don't know English. And please pronounce it as I'm perfection and I'm possible. And in whatever projects you are doing, ensure that you give it your best. Commit to the project. Whatever happens after that, Malaika, is a growth. Whether the project is not up to the mark, that is also a growth because it teaches you what to do better the next time. If the project is up to the mark, that is also a growth. It teaches you what you did correctly. You know the story of Edison, who had the light bulb, and he had 1,000 almost failures before he had the bulb. And someone asked him, what made you go on and on and on with the discovery? Why didn't you drop it? And he said, why should I drop it? Now I know 999 ways not to do. And that is I'm perfection.
Yeah. So, Malaika, I hope you've got your answer. And a lot of times, young adults, I would say 21, 22-year-olds who are, and the pressure that they have. I think, when I was 21, 22, just out of college or school, we didn't have so much pressure to perform.
Today's pressure is way more.
Yeah, it's of course way more. So I feel that they're dealing with a lot of things. Not only are they dealing with pressure from their schools and colleges, but they're also dealing with competitive pressure in the
And there is a reason why the pressure is more, Kajal, because these 21 and 22-year-olds and today's 7 and 8-year-olds and today's 1-year-old have energy structures and evolution levels that are way beyond us. So they can handle this pressure. They are meant to come and have this pressure so that they can help us have a better world. So thank you, Malaika.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you this one question because it keeps, I've always wanted to have this discussion with you actually separately, but I've not had the time to really pick up the phone and call you and talk to you about it. With everything that is going on around us right now, the situation, the lockdown, etc., etc.
Yeah.
What is it that you feel energy-wise we should do to protect our inner child?
First of all, the only protection you can give yourself is honest self-love. Please stop blaming yourself. Please understand that guilt and shame are absolutely useless emotions. They don't help you to better yourself at all because you wallow in it. But it doesn't even help you get out of that situation. So regret and understanding is different from guilt and shame. So understand where you erred. Yes, there will be moments of regret which are very, very good because then that helps you not to revisit that kind of a situation again. But love yourself through it all. Unless you love yourself, you're not going to be able to protect your inner child. Your inner child is crying out for love and nurturance. And not from someone else, not from the husband, not from the wife, not from the mother. Release all these people from the burden of trying to give you love and nurturance.
The entire inner child, we've discussed healing, we've discussed that, forgiving yourself is more important than actually trying to forgive others, because you really do not need to blame anybody else for what's happening with you.
Yeah.
It's your reality and it's your destiny that you have created. So I would like to again say thank you very, very, very much. It was lovely seeing you. Divine thanks to you.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. Big hug to everyone.